drawn power lines somewhere. Because lights are still flickering, so that must mean that it's not a short in the system or in the fuse box or whatever, but this happens whenever there's a storm approaching our area. And it's going to be raining starting today, maybe until next Wednesday, I believe, according to the weather report. So usually when the stuff like that starts happening, that's when we start seeing some really weird stuff going on. Because the storms up here in the Pacific Northwest are very unpredictable and quite fierce and dangerous at times. You don't know what to expect. So, always be prepared. Yeah, I'm not going to tackle that Polaris. I'm going to leave it be for the moment because I'm going to go and loot this area again. Hopefully it'll be recharged. Nope, not yet. Okay, where am I going to go now? I haven't been to... let's see, where am I going? Maka Jardson. Me and my friend have all kinds of nicknames for these areas. So, because a lot of it you can't even pronounce. This area in particular is kind of tricky because I normally don't go here unless I'm in a crazy sort of mindset, because the Soviet camp is just above the ridgeline on the other side of the safe house, and that is a nightmare situation in itself because there's plenty of good enemies over there, good loot, but they're heavier concentrations and they're more how should I say this? It's more of a hornet's nest than a serious problem to be able to attack on a tactical level, because that's usually where all the heavy hitters are. You're usually by yourself, and yes, the trenches do provide some measure of cover and stuff like that, but you can get pretty overwhelmed pretty quick. And sometimes there's a rival there and other things, but it's just a real nightmare area for people who aren't experienced. Hit the button by accident. So you just gotta be careful when you come up in this place, because you don't know exactly what you're going to be facing until it's too late. Already. Yes, I can hear the Firebird. I think he's over on the side. caught up in that. Yeah, there's a really pulley in the area. I just heard it. Don't just get out because I am not facing. I don't feel like getting my butt munched. I don't think that's a good area either. There's something I'm gonna hit over here. Definitely not dealing with that stuff today. I feel like a little carnage, a little bloodshed, a little bit of recycled metal, but not like that. Alright, so nothing on this area. Let's see where we got here. Okay, that place has already been picked. Yeah, this particular rival's been in here for like 4 months, and I really haven't had the luxury or the patience to go after it. Not because I don't want to, but that area is kind of questionable too. This is where the radio mast is, all the top of the point of the island up here. So it'd be close to, let's say, the safe house in Aspiness. It would be the safe house at the Barudin radar mast. Madar? Ugh. Madar mast. Yeah. You can tell I can't pronounce anything tonight. I mean, I had a good enough rest and sleep and everything, but still. Ugh, my brain is still tapioca pudding. Yeah, there's still some good stuff up here. Gotta wait till it, the paramedic kits, as some of you know, allow you to recharge your health like maybe 10 times, I think. I can't remember. The ammo box is about the same amount. You can score enough ammunition off your ammo boxes and you only get like one. This area isn't really conducive for enemies. I mean, if you want to get technical about it, there just isn't that many enemies to be found around in these areas. Not like the first time you had to take out the doggos that were part of the, side missions. But once the area is clear, it just becomes a regular safe house. Well, stop getting yourself stuck, Angelo. I know. and the claw came to the bed. Gets his claw stuck in the box spring mattress where he likes to claw. Because, you know, one thing about cats is cat trees are way too expensive. Scratching posts are way too expensive. You got a box spring, you don't really mind it getting shredded by your cats. Hey, it's a free cat scratcher. It's a cat scratching post. Of course, I don't think whoever. If your girlfriend's living with you, she's not going to be happy about it. If you're married, your wife's definitely not going to be happy about it. My late wife was here right now. She'd be really mad at me for having Angela just wreck this underside of the mattress. I'm like, I'm sorry. But yeah. After a while, you figure out your cats aren't fans of cat scratchers or cat trees. And, you know, it's just time to give it up and find something that's I wouldn't call it cheap replacement, but just, you know, something that's, well, I wouldn't say durable, but convenient, and, well, I wouldn't say cheap on the fly, but, you know, something that's inexpensive that they can have, like, you can let them destroy and everything. It makes them happy, keeps them out of your hair for a while, and it's like, oh, bonus points. Okay, let's see, where am I going next? Okay, so this area right here, I can't pronounce it, so it's I think it's pronounced Grand Higgett, but me and my buddy calls it Grand Nugget because it's a lot easier to remember. And let's see, this area right here is called Lily Harmonious, whatever you want to call it. My friend and I call it Little Ham. Lily Ham or Little Ham, you know, because it's a lot easier to pronounce, and then we already know where it's going to be coming from next, so it's not a big deal. But some areas are just kind of impossible to pronounce. But you got to hand it to the Swedish, man. They really know how to name their cities and countrysides and all that fun stuff. Because you ever try reading the signs inside this game and the advertisements and stuff, it's like, okay. But thankfully they have it auto-translated, so it's kind of cool to look at some of the stuff they used to sell back in the day. And believe it or not, the currency that's mentioned in the game is still in use today, like it was back in 1989. I love these things that are floating around. Come on, dude. Oh, there's two of them. Smoking behind that. Make sure I'm not being tracked. Sometimes it's not best to engage at close range, and you can tell them another good shot sometimes, but hey, it gets the job done. So like I said, long range attacks will work better in your favor That way you don't have to engage in close quarters. You know, like, not like waste your ammunition, but just reduce the chances of taking damage, because outside of maybe a couple hundred yards, the Polarises won't be able to hit you because you're too far out. And so you can just pop a cap in their asses until they get destroyed, and then like, hey, good, free loot for me. Sometimes it's best to play strategically rather than aggressively. I mean, everybody likes to be the aggressive type, but you know, just gotta come at these fights a little bit differently. Well, okay, I see him. Some areas I just trying to. Experimental with the KVM-59 with the silencer, legendary silencer on it, is a godsend. It's the only weapon in your arsenal that has that ability, so it reduces the recoil noise of every round. So it doesn't reduce the chances of you being spotted. Okay. Now where am I going? Ooh. Oh, hello. Yeah, let's go for that one. I'll bring out my doggo and we'll go have a party. Meet my little friend. So it's like, so just let's see, where am I going here? Oh yeah, I can hear a tank in the background, so it's not just the harvester in front of me, it's also that other thing. I could have missed in that direction. The tanks with a double direct hit. Whoa. Hey, look, it's stuck in the wall. Well, that's the first time I've ever seen one of those. It's a dolly jack, I believe, or a dolly cart, or it's one of those things you use to transport heavy stuff. Yeah, Yeah, I used to work at Walmart, but I'm sorry, it's been a while and so my brain's fried. It's just unfortunate. Hillside's clear. I'm gonna sewer that done. Okay, he's over here next to the second warehouse. Not warehouse, hangar, excuse me. Hangar. Boy, my mind's just completely fried. Two tanks. I know the harvester's right. What am I saying harvester for? Hunter. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that is definitely not good. Okay, what do I decide to take out on first? Fucker. I hate hunters. Too overloaded. Yeah, I think that takes care of these two at least. I'm only clearing out the area of enemy machines. I'm not going to go stir crazy. Oh, I'm glad because, geez, there's two of these things. Guy took damage. Tag. Shit, must have been missed. Shit, missed one mile. Twice. I was worried about wasting ammunition. Perfect. Something's smoking up my butt. Where are you? Oh. I think I'm gonna stay up that one. Whatever's down there can stay down there. Beam over to another save area. That way I don't have to worry about okay, do some recycling. That climb up sometimes you get stuck and you have to jump at least once or twice. Oh, perfect. More useful materials. tanking it. This area right here next to the fort is such a nightmare because the lag issue just kicks your butts. So if you're playing with your pals and buddies, your frame rates just go right into the toilet, and then you risk the chance of the game crashing in a session. You know, your session was disconnected or whatever it's called. You know, connection lost, whatever. You know, so. But I think the PlayStation Network. I think it recently upgraded its system servers and everything recently in the last year, and so a lot of people are having issues with still being able to game together. But it mostly depends on the distance. I mean, if you're clear across the country like I am, and you're trying to game with someone on, like, say, the East Coast versus the West Coast, that's like a 2,968 mile difference. And so the signal has to go all the way from where you're at on the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. Even if you've got a 5G network and fiber optic and someone has a 4G and basic, they don't have fiber optic on 4G, but, well, at least they did until recently, but still, you got connectivity issues anyways. So, it's just going to take some time to iron out. But it was pretty crazy because me and my friend couldn't play for a while because of it. And I'm thinking, well, we just got in a 5G network and they're still ironing out the bugs. And it's funny, but when I have a 5G phone, it's like I can go and do my thing with it. But you get inside a hospital, for example, like I was at the anticoagulation clinic, the lab, because the hospitals have special shielding, you know. Because most of the equipment operates on the RF radio frequency system, so they have to shield those areas from unintentional, you know, carrier waves. Other, you know, because some frequencies are operating in the same wavelength, and so there could be interference. So a lot of the areas are especially shielded from tower signals, internet signals. So when you look at your phone, you're inside the hospital, you'll notice it's been dropping like crazy because that's just the way it is. You know, something you can really do about it because, you know, hospitals have to have those sort of protections. And so some areas are dead zones where there's no signal. And I mean, there's still places in the U.S. that don't even have cell phone service or internet service because there's just no way you can get it there. But even with the fiber optic upgrades in the last couple of years, you're still going to have issues, you know. But you know, the system, the internet, the Wi-Fi system is Wi-Fi. You know, issues being resolved, so it's not like we're not dealing with it effectively. It's it takes, you know, it takes time for everything to ratchet up as you go. I mean, it took 25 years for us to have fiber optic from DSL and then dial-up. I mean, that's how crazy things have gotten. Of course, if you could consider the computers we had back in those days to be, well, they're archaic dinosaurs, but you know, my caregiver was asking about vacuum tube televisions. You know, the type you used to play with the Pong video games back in the day. I mean, some of us like old-fashioned people, like I'm a Generation X player, so I know about Pong. I know about the old boxy TVs with the rabbit ears and having the foil wrapped up on top of it for better reception. And the antenna vanes that you had to operate with a small little boxy knob kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, most of you guys wouldn't know about that. And yes, we had rotary phones. We had those old-fashioned answering machines and the bulky, which you'd call laptops back in the day, but they were the size of a briefcase, literally. And so you had to carry those things around literally. And they ran about, I think, the average going price was like $4,000 back in the early 80s. And in those days, that was quite a lot of money. I mean, we're talking a ton of money because The minimum wage wasn't, as you guys may or may not know, it was way lower than it is now. So we're talking, let's see, 88 or 89. The average minimum wage for my state was well, not here in Washington State, but Vermont, for example, was $3.85 an hour. And by 1996, state minimum wage for Washington State was $6.10. And now we're talking, the city of Everett's going to be instituting a $16 minimum wage, and but most businesses around here offer between $16 to $31 an hour, especially the pizza joints like Pizza Hut and Domino's and Mod Pizza and a few other little. No. I think I'm gonna go wreak some havoc on these two tanks and at Harvester up above, just because I can. First, I'm gonna grab some stuff here, so. Make sure that I'm not spotted too quickly. I don't know how I keep missing on the first shot. I got something behind, but still. I'm telling you, my really bad during the night traps. Day fight me. My doggo would take out the small fry. And there's two tanks. That guy's attention. That guy's attention. Get that guy's attention. Yeah, I'm kind of like in the middle of a battle here. Where's that guy going? That's what you call a good shot. I only hit it once or twice. Once with a rocket, 3 shots with a PPG-90. It must have been suffering some pretty bad damage if it was already like that. Ugh. Like these two. I'm going to pour it back to one of the safe houses for a moment. Of course, being out in the middle of the open like this risks getting your butt munched by something. But usually you have about a 2 or 3 second window of opportunity. So you're not exactly going to be getting nailed for too long. Looks like it's going to be sunrise in about 3 or 4 more minutes. Game time at least. And where is that? Oh. Sure I got them all. Sounds like a harvester in a distance. Oh yeah. Okay, now I remember. I gotta go over to Medallia. Yeah, because that's where you can find weapon crates. There's a lot of other places you can find, like the Kaepernick farm that has a weapons crate, or the safe house is inside a shipping container. Yeah. And here's my favorite spot. It's all the way past Saltham. It is the Stenhaga farm. That's got a weapon crate plus a few other goodies. And, you know, makes things worthwhile. Because the point of looting all the areas over and over again is to build up your resources, especially your lead explosive, textile, thread, those things. And of course, in this area, there's always an enemy nearby, so it's always doing that so you can hear the music. So, but I don't engage anyways because what's the point? Okay, let's see. Where am I going? Okay, over there. I need to go up and over. That's the Ace of Safe House. This whole area has got a ton of stuff, but you've also got to be careful because sometimes you'll run into an enemy. I don't know what this safe house contains, but I don't think it has much anyways. So, no, it doesn't. Okay, so it's daylight already. Okay, so I'm gonna go here back to Overstick Industries. However you want to pronounce that one. I'm gonna start calling it Overstead because it's Overstead. Ostervik? Oh, it's Ostervik Industries. Okay. Ostervik Industries. Okay, here. I'm gonna go ahead and unload again, recycle. Yeah, lights are still flickering, so I'm going to be getting some light bulbs next month. Might as well, I mean. I'm going to keep the Capist Extended Magazine Epic because Capist magazines, the epics and the legendaries are very hard drops. They're very difficult to, very rare drops, I should say. So it's like if you get one as an epic, keep it. It may not be the legendary, but at least it'll give you more ammunition options than just. I gotta drop this one down to 4 pounds. Okay, so that goes there. So yeah, epic attachments are pretty much some things that you really want. I mean, the 3-star ones are good, but you also want to get the 4 and you want to get the legendary. So it's important to keep an eye out for that, because you never know if you're going to have a good one. Just be careful not to recycle your own stuff, because I've done that more than a few times. And this was before they nerfed the ability to craft or mod your weapons. Well, excuse me, correction. Modding your weapons used to be easier before they capped it with the refined metal and all that other stuff you need from the furnace and the miner machine, whatever it's called. But with regards to the attachments, you just gotta be careful. But if you accidentally recycle your legendary modded weapon, you're shit out of luck. You're gonna have to use the standard one because it's not unless you have the refined metals and everything else. Then you're fine. You can get the gold tier skill levels like the tank, just Buster, and what was it? Weapon Sway, whatever it's called. I haven't looked at it in a while, but it will come in handy. And of course, if you get the legendary Gatling gun, minigun, excuse me, and you get the legendary, you can get the gold tier max ammo ability. I don't know what it is, but that'll help you immensely. If you're if you're really good at using it, me, it's like I'm just blowing through all the ammunition like it's a Tic Tac factory. Because I'm a really lousy shot, as everyone's been watching these videos lately. It's like, can't you hit something normally? I was like, no, not in the dark. Even though, because you see, I wear bifocals, so I can't see very well because I'm nearsighted. So it's like, okay, maybe I'll get lucky. Sometimes I do get lucky. Other times it's like 5 or 6 rounds before I finally hit something. You know, and also the distance also screws up your perception and line of sight, so you don't know exactly what you're hitting. So, earlier in this video, the last 3 or 4, you actually can see how difficult it is to hit something from long range because, you know, you can't really. Your eyes plays tricks on you. The game graphics, while perfect almost, it still has issues with you know it's just being able to cap a lot of rounds off at the enemy and be able to destroy them in like 5 or 6 seconds or less. You know, because it's just really crazy. But it really doesn't matter because having fun is more important than just, you know, being a crack shot at, you know, in the enemy. I mean, I'm excellent with the PVG-90, but that's besides the point. You know, I don't always get everything right the first time either, and I know a lot of you guys don't either, because it's a learning process. You know, you just gotta adapt as you go. You know, figure out new strategies, figure out this and that, and just, you know, keep doing your best. So, you know, I know some people are serious players and they won't accept anything less. Others are perfectionists. They will go for the hard choices, and they won't back down because they're that confident in their skills and abilities, which is fine, you know. But players like me, I'm just there to cause mass destruction and carnage. And I don't care who gets hurt in the process in terms of machines and firebirds and whatever. I'm like, I'm here, I'm gonna start grinding some serious metal, and if you don't like it, there's the door. So it's like, you know, but I've been doing, like I said, I've been doing this for 4 years since I started playing, 2 years after the game was launched. So, you know, it took me a while to get used to this game too. It took me a long time to figure out everything. And of course, one encounter with a tank early on in the game, before, you know, before they did the updates and mods and everything, the experimental weapons, I was in the Boot Church area and in the supermarket store in the courtyard area before the bridge, and I'm surrounded. I got surrounded by 3 or 4 hunters and a tank. Now I don't know these tanks. These tanks are pretty powerful, but I didn't have much experience dealing with them, so my first instinct was, okay, I'm getting my butt waxed, I'm going to run for it. So somehow I got outside, and the tank fired in point-blank range, blew me clear across the country, and I'm not talking literally, figuratively, I'm talking literally. It tossed my butt all the way across the country. I don't exactly know where I landed, but it was far enough. It took like 2 minutes, and I'm sitting there watching my character just pinwheel through space, and I'm going, okay, am I going to come down anytime soon? And it was like a minute later, and I was like, oh, okay. And I land, and it's like, if I could figure out exactly where I landed, it was the other direction, away from Boot Church across the field. So I must have been blown over the mountainside next to the Annie 182 Air Base across from Boot Church, and I cleared the mountain range and landed. I must have landed. I just landed pretty far. Okay, I can't. I'll have to check the map to find out where I landed, because it was so funny. It was like, I told a friend of mine, he goes, "You actually, I actually did it." You know, and sometimes when a lot of players, I watch these people, they fuck around a lot. They screw around, so they're like, okay, let's see what we can do for fun, you know. And a lot of these veteran players are just having a ball and are just blasting each other. You know, when you collect a lot of explosive gas tanks, for example, me and my friend we did 140 gas tanks. We started lining up in around a circle, and so my friend, I mean, literally, it's just a target thing. So we made sure the whole area is clear of all the enemies. So we did all this stuff, and about 2 minutes later, he goes, "Okay, I'm done. You can do it now." And I'm like, "Okay." So I take my rocket launcher, the legendary RLG-7. I sight in, and it's just a titanic explosion. I mean, he's just shot up into space, and I can just barely see him. He's like tiny little speck in the sky, and I'm like going, and he's like, "Dude, this is so cool," and I'm like, "Yeah." And so he lands like 800,000 yards downwind of me, and so me and my friend were both doing the same time, and so we're all standing on the gas tanks like normal, and he says, "Okay, go ahead and do it." I took the dual purpose and it pointed the ground and lobbed off a round, right? And he went sailing across Butchers, across the creek, okay, past the bridge area, towards that area, you know, and I ended up on the far side of the field towards the Farm of Plenty. And that explosion just blew me right across that point. And I'm like, my friend and I were laughing. So it was pretty funny. It's like a see, I don't understand. It's daylight. There we go. Sometimes I miss the distance between the shot and the enemy tank. Sometimes the back shot does good too, but you know, generally speaking, it's like more luck than anything else. And if you can lob off a shot just before it fires, it stops it from firing mid, you know. Yeah, that was tough lucky too. So yeah. And up here in this area is a small campsite. It's got a few good things, but I wouldn't recommend pushing your luck on that one. Ah, legendary minigun. That's pretty decent. I'll be back in a second. Now, of course, one of the best places to use the gas canisters, explosive gas tanks, is the top of the mountain range, the one of your favorite mountaintops, you know, near a settlement or whatever. And this is the last use of my doggo, so once I'm done with this, I'm going to have to end the session and then restart, and I'll start a new session. So we all piled these gas tanks on top of the mountaintop, you know, canyon areas, stuff like that. My friend built a pretty impressive concentration of explosive gas tanks, and oh, it's a Phoenix class harvester. So he did that. I cannot understand that. How the hell can I miss in that range? Alright, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to detonate these guys. Oh, he's pulling reinforcements. So, he had the gas tank that all built up inside. Yeah, he's calling in reinforcements, so. So he detonated the stockpile of explosive gas tanks on top of the mountaintop, and he went flying not all the way up into space, but somehow he managed to curve outwards, and he ended up landing on the other side of the mountain range. And I'm going, okay. I was like, how in the world did you do that? He goes, I don't know. He goes, why don't you try it? I'm like, sure. I ended up 2 valleys over from my position. I mean, we did about, I don't know, 205 gas tanks on that thing, and it was just massive. It was just so freaking cool. And you know, this kind of stuff is just, you know, it's just for fun. So, you know, sometimes rather than playing serious, you know, every now and then you'll just want to cut loose and just do some silly stuff. You know, this game isn't just about, you know, wrecking machines and finding collectibles and all this other kind of fun stuff. It's also just, you know, it's like a kid's game plus everything else. And so, you know, it's just a lot of fun. I got a Volkov Extended Legendary, which kind of like don't really need, because, well, the Volkovs aren't really that strong. I mean, unless you have the modded versions and you know how to use it, it'll come in handy. But, you know, like I said, most some weapons are just kind of like not very good in battle. I mean, if these things were, if the lower weapons like the Volkovs and the Magnus 44 Legendary Experimental were available at the beginning of the game, it would have done a lot of damage and it would have kept your butt out of the fryer for a while. You know, I've seen some players that I subscribe to, they can literally take one of those weapons and go ham city on the enemy. Well, they're a lot stronger, like tanks, harvesters, a firebird or two. I've seen them go up against the vulture, and I'm like, oh, dude, you got some serious brass nuts to do that with a Volkov or a Magnus 44 Legendary or Experimental. And it's like, you know, get all the mods and everything, and well, not the mods, I mean the experimentals, not mods, but the legendary attachments and, you know, different ammunition types. And these guys just unload and wreck the heck out of the machines like it's nobody's business. And they don't just stick with one weapon. They all go. This one guy was what was he doing? He was alternating between weapons. Now, there's supposed to be a guy back here. I don't see him. Maybe I'm in the wrong... Oh, there he is. I see him. Okay, wrong building. But he was switching between guns and weapons, firing off about 5 or 10 shots from one, reloading, switching to the next one, and just keep going and going and going until he finally killed it. And some weapons, like the HP 5 Legendary, he actually used that thing in battle, and then I was like, oh, that's what that thing, because it has homing bullets. But the only way the homing bullets works is if you actually target the enemy before you unleash the homing bullet ability. So it's just it's a matter of timing, and also skill, because the HP5 is kind of like, difficult to master, along with the KVM 89, which I don't really find that useful because it's just very difficult to do, because it's just really tricky how the the weaponry and the recoil and this, it's not the sway or the recoil, it's just that the weapon's a bit different than the KVM 59 experimental that I'm using, because the 89 has a different line targeting scope. Well, actually, I don't think it uses one. So it's, like I said, it takes a little bit getting used to, and a lot of people have their preferences over that weapon versus this one. And when I first used this KVM 59, I wasn't really good at it. I mean, I'm not talking, ease of the weapon and reliability. I'm talking, it was so difficult at first to, get used to the weapon and use it more often. And eventually, over the last couple of years, I started getting accustomed to the weapon itself and figuring out the best ways to use it. And so it's basically a machine gun, and not like the minigun. The minigun took me a while to figure out and use, because sometimes I don't always get it right. So I just did best I could. But the 59's actually, the KVM 59 is actually a pretty decent weapon for beginners and experienced. But experts and veterans find it a pretty interesting weapon, and so it's making sure I got everything here, because you never know. Sometimes I check the tents, but I don't think I remember seeing anything in these tents the first time, the second time around. The first time there was a collectible, and this, the one I just left, and there was just, I think I missed the guy in the back, I'm not sure. But yeah, okay, I got everything. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and collect this stuff, and beam out to the next. I'm gonna beam out to the next. Get my safe house. Oh, I see. Shit, I gotta move. Better move it. Yeah, I see those doggos in the background. I'm not really gonna engage because I've done all I've done, so I'm gonna just park my butt over at the 126 anti-air base near Ostermark, and I think the Ostermark Villa above is already recharged. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just recycle, and I'm gonna save for a moment, take a break. This is the longest grind session I've had broadcasting. It's an hour and 10 minutes almost. So usually mine average about 37, 47, 53 minutes. But I'm having so much fun. I mean, you might as well see what's going on. Whoops, gotta be careful not to recycle on my radios. I don't remember. Oh, whoops. I want to keep that because my friend uses up a lot of gasoline. He does the moped thing. I haven't even started mine yet. I'm like, of course, because I'm not really a fan of mopeds. I'm not a fan of the bicycles either, because I prefer to walk, and I've been walking in this game for as long as I can remember. So, because I'm more of a cross-country kind of guy, you know? So, and also in real life, I like to walk and hike and bike and swim, canoe, kayak, because that's what I always did growing up as a teenager into my adult life. So, alrighty then, I'm gonna take a break. I hope you guys found this instructional, educational, horrifying, terrifying, painful to watch, and hilarious. So I will talk to you guys soon. Subscribe if you'd like. It's not a big deal. I've only had this account for about I don't know, 9 months now, so it's all good. All right, see you guys later.